We're back in the kitchen today with very easy recipes. It's going to be nice and simple. 3 dishes: croquetas, huevos flamenca, and pollo empanado. And I've chosen these recipes because everyone's going to go back to uni now, especially for students. They're cheap, they're simple, there's really nothing to it. Oh, I'm so used to my granny feeding me. Don't be tricked by that because it's very, very easy to do. So we'll start with the huevos flamenca. Make the refrito first, which is going to be the onions and the garlic, and we have to fry the potatoes. We'll make some very small chips. Once we've made the chips and everything's ready and the tomato sauce and everything's mixed up, we'll put it into our terracotta bowl and put this straight into the oven. Crack 2 eggs before on top of it, but you get a nice warm liquidy sauce with the potatoes and everything, the chorizo in there mixed up, all the flavors will blend, and the egg that crusts on top but should stay runny in the middle. But you don't want to get your chips too thick because really it's all going to be blended into with the tomato sauce and the peas and everything. So I like to sort of cube them into maybe about 3-4 millimeter cubes or something. That sort of thickness is what I like to go for because the potatoes won't overpower anything, and really what you want to focus more is the egg that's going to be beautifully roasted on top and baked. That's what you want. Usually you can serve for one person, it will be 1 potato and 1 egg. You can use a small terracotta bowl for that. Because I'm going to be cooking for 2 or 3 people today, I'm going to have 2 potatoes and 2 eggs, which is going to mix inside there. It's enough so people can share, because you can put this in the middle of the table. You can share this with everyone. Everyone can then, with some bread, just dip in there, and it's a very social dish. Many of the dishes that we're making today, you can have them as tapas, and that is the beauty of tapas. Everyone can enjoy it together. It takes a while to eat, and even if you have it when it's cold, it doesn't really matter, because the point of it is that you eat slowly, everyone's socializing, everyone's together. So the chips are frying. Let's prepare the refrito now, and that way we can get everything timed perfectly, because that's really what we want, is timing more than anything. We'll cut an onion in half and slice this down. We need this to be, sliced really, really small, because we don't want these to be noticed when we're eating it. We want everything to really be almost non-existent there. It's all about the taste rather than the texture. So we're going to chop these down and fry them. The refrito is made of onions and garlic, and once that's translucent, then we add the tomato sauce. So it's half an onion for this and 2 garlic cloves. So this time you can use white or red onions, but this time I'm using red onions because I find that the red onions are a bit sweeter, and that way I find it complements the tomato sauce a bit better. So I think this is sufficiently chopped now. I'm going to go straight into the pan to put these to fry, and when it's nice and translucent, we'll add the peas, because I got tinned peas. It's already soaked in water, it's already softened, so we can just put it straight in there with the tomato sauce, which you can use 1 tin of tomato sauce for yourself, or if you're cooking for more people, use about 2 for this size terracotta bowl. When that's all together, we'll just add the chorizo, because the chorizo is already cooked. You can just add it straight in there, just chop them down into little chunks, because that we want noticeable. The chorizo is what you want in there, and the chorizo will release the flavor in there when it's all cooking in the oven. So the base of the refrito is almost done. At this point now, we're going to chop up our chorizos, because we want the chorizo fat to melt into the pan with the oil and the garlic and the onions, so everything blends in together before we add the peas and the tomato. I mean, you can do this, you can add it afterwards, you can add it before. I like it before because that way all the flavors blend together. Chorizo, about probably that size of chorizo is enough for about 3 people, because we're going to cut this down into small chunks and then cube it. Really open it up so that all the fat that's in there and all the flavors can melt into your dish. I'm going to break this up. And you want the chorizos big enough so that, you know, when you scoop up some tomato sauce and there with the egg and the chips and everything, you want the chorizo to be noticeable in there so that everyone can enjoy it. Maybe with some tinto, some sangria. That is a sort of what you want. That we can now add to the pan with the rest of our ingredients. Your garlic and onion refrito should now be turning beautifully translucent. Add your sliced up chorizos to the pan and let it simmer a little as it releases all those spicy juices. Once the chorizo is cooked, add your peas and tomato passata to the mixture and let it bubble away for a couple of minutes. There, our sauce is ready. Our potatoes are fried. So we need to add the potatoes in with the tomatoes and then in the terracotta dish. So as we pour it in, you can just drain the oil back into the pan because we don't want this to be too oily. Spoil it, it's too oily. Just stir this up. Stir this in your dish so you got more space in here. That's why we put it in here so we can stir it all. And pour this into this dish here. And now we want to spread this out, try and make a little bit of a dent in the middle. And the fun part really is cracking the eggs on top. So careful, we don't want to put any shell in there, so carefully. Okay. We want to keep them whole. And all the egg whites, and that is going to go straight into the oven. It's going to go in the oven for about 20 minutes. We'll check. We want this to be egg whites cooked, egg yolks cooked. It's going to be crispy on top, but inside it's going to stay nice and runny. So straight in the oven at 180 degrees, and we'll go back and check. So this is another quick favorite. This is perfect for kids. It's so easy to do. It's chicken flour, breadcrumbs. Really, that's all there is to it. What you have to do is mix it into the eggs, in the flour, back into the eggs, back into the breadcrumbs. And that is just gonna be, it's messy, which I like to do. We're gonna fry it. And this is perfect because kids can have it in their sandwiches, you can have it with chips, you can have it in a salad when it's all done, chop it up. So quick to do. There's more thinking about it than actually doing it. So we're just gonna go straight into it, and I'm gonna prepare the eggs first. So I'm gonna chop the garlic and the parsley and add that straight into the eggs. The point of that is so that when you first dip it into the egg, the garlic and the parsley mixes up with the egg and the layer on the chicken. When you put it on the flour, you get the garlic trapped underneath the flour, put it back in the egg, and then into the breadcrumbs. That way you get garlic and parsley layers in between as you get the flour and the breadcrumbs. So, but this needs to be chopped very finely. There we go. So that's one. And that, for the moment, I think should be enough. We can add more later as we go along because I'm gonna have 4 eggs, which should be enough for 2 to 3 slices of chicken. But if you want, you can keep adding it. There's really no limit to it. When you put it in there and when you put it in the flour, put it in the breadcrumbs, it depends how much you use and how much gets stuck on the chicken, really, that you just need to keep an eye on. And we'll get our parsley, chop this up. Add that in there. Crack in 4 eggs and we'll beat them up. And add that in with your garlic and your parsley and mix it all up in there. And season it with a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper as well. Okay, and now is where the fun begins. So we need to slice the chicken down, thin strips, that's what we want. We're gonna get our chicken breast, slice them straight down into thin slices. So this is what you want, thin. We're gonna straight in there with a fork they use to beat the eggs. Just cover that up. Go, put that straight into the flour. Cover it in the flour, there we go. Back into the eggs. that down. And then from there, straight into your breadcrumbs. You can just cover it like this. If later on, if you start running out, you can just get some extra breadcrumbs and pour it on top. Like that, that'd be nice. And that's it, that's one done. And we'll go ahead and do all the others. So the chicken is ready, it's looking fantastic. We're going to go and fry this in a pan with enough oil in there, about half a finger's deep full. So that should be enough to fry for a couple of minutes each side. So it's going to be golden on the outside. The chicken's going to be really nice and white in the middle.